Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back, and I will apologize to you all. I had not been doing any videos or caught up with the 2 episodes that I'd missed so far with Married at First Sight Australia, because I did take a little break for the long weekend, for the bank holiday weekend, you know, for Good Friday and Easter. Yes, I did go away, take a long weekend, enjoyed myself, and now I am back to do some more videos. Excuse the hair, it is a little bit airy fairy and a bit all over the place, but you know what, I don't care. I don't care. I love my naturalness. I love my naturalness, and I love the highness, and I love the felicity of it. Okay, so anyway, before we get into this video, I will do my whole introduction as I always do. We are getting into Married at First Sight Australia series 11, and now we are getting into episode 19. As I always ask before I get into the video, please hit that subscribe button. Please, people, hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. And let's talk about this episode, shall we? So we continue with Friends Week. We know that Ben ran away after the commitment ceremony shit went down. He was meant to be making all these series of events for Ellie for the week to ensure that, you know, he works on it, because Ellie basically gave him his marching papers on that day. It was a warning sign for Ellie. Do you think that man took stead of that? No, he did not. And Ben is just an entity on his own. I don't like Ben. And then we also know that Tori's friend Leah came to see Jack and Tori, as again, Friends and Family Week. We didn't see any of Jack's friends or family within that week. Let's just put that out there. Didn't see none of them at all. And the only friend that came for Tori was Leah. Didn't see her mom come, didn't see anybody else get introduced into the Malay. They didn't even go out of the flats, they stayed there. So basically Tori is telling Jack about how she believes that Leah liked Jack, and she would be able to tell if Leah didn't. Me, myself, I didn't see it, but hey ho, Tori knows her friend better than we all do, so we shall move on. Ellie and Ben. We get to Ellie and Ben. And I'm like, Ben didn't go missing. Ben knew exactly where he was at the end of the day. Ben decided that he was going to stay out of that place for whatever freaking reason he decided to. Because I've already decided that this man is a complete emotional manipulator and a full-on gaslighter. What he likes to do to Ellie, and I will speak more about this in the next episode, what he likes to do to Ellie is build her up and push her back down. That's what he likes to do with Ellie in its entirety. So basically Ellie is talking about how she feels that her time is wasted and her clock is ticking. And I'm just like, Ben has been showing Ellie within this experiment, I think from near enough the time they get married until a little bit onwards, that he has not been in it with her. He has definitely not been in it with her. And he is one of these people where he will pick her up, then drop her from a great height, pick her up and then drop her from a great height at the end of the day, because he knows that Ellie is kind of like forgiving everything that he does. If he does something nice and says he wants to work on the marriage, he wants to do X, Y and Z, yeah, he knows Ellie will jump at that, because as she said, her clock is ticking. She's at the point where she wants the whole gamut. She wants to be married, you know, with the kids and this, that and the other. And he's kind of got it in his head that he can do anything to this girl and she ain't going to bite back. He had the shock of his life at the commitment ceremony. But again, my thing is Ellie, every time he does something nice, keeps thinking, shall I forgive him? Shall I forgive him? Shall I forgive him? She needs to like get rid of that completely, because this man is just playing a complete mind fuck of a game with this girl, like seriously. So Ben now comes back, and in tow he brings this guitar. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, and where the fuck did Ben get a guitar from? Like seriously. Apparently he comes through the front door, yeah, and he says to Ellie like, hi, how are you? And she asked him how he was, and she said he's fine, but it's good to be home. And I'm like, is this the be all and end all of the niceties between you two? You two seriously need to sit down and chat and actually figure out where the fuck this is going, because it isn't going anywhere good. So Ben basically says that in his VC, that being apart from Ellie has kind of helped him, and basically says that he is now present for Ellie. And I mean, the way the man was chatting in his VC, he wasn't even present in that. So how he's present for Ellie is beyond me, because the first thing, rather than try and talk this shit out with this girl, is the dude ran out the door. The dude did not even sleep in the bed, because the bed was made, it was left how it was. He did not sleep in his bed. So the first question I'll be asking is, where the hell did you sleep? Where the hell did you stay for the whole night? And what was you doing? Who was you talking with? All those kinds of questions. It didn't seem to faze Ellie in the slightest that, you know what, her husband had stepped out and stayed out all flipping night. Didn't faze her in the slightest, because she just wanted to get down to brass knuckles and talk about the situation at hand. So Ben in his VC point blank said that he was ready to listen to what it is that Ellie had to say, because he felt that he wasn't listening to what she was saying to him and not taking on board what she said. So point blank, Ellie tells him how she felt. That man didn't take nothing on board in terms of what she said, because all Ben was doing was smirking. And this is what I mean, I could reach through the TV and smack the smirk off his face. I'm sorry for the violent terminology, but really, well and truly, I'm still questioning to this point, what is this man doing here? Like, seriously, what is he doing in this experiment? So he says to Ellie that he wants to make it work. And again, he goes with the niceties. And again, Ellie takes him at face value. And I'm like, Ellie, come on, man. Like, seriously, come on now. She turns around and says that she's trusting him and wants to see change. And I'm like, do none of these people in this program have no self-preservation at all? I mean, I know God loves a trier, but Jesus wept. When this man keeps on showing you who the fuck he is every single fucking time, to the point that you give him a warning sign to say leave on the couch, you should take your ass and leave, because this man is not worth your time and your effort. At the end of the day, this man is not showing who he is, the true essence of who he is, but yet you're still willing to stay there and work shit out with him, when the first thing the man did was run and then come back with a guitar the day after. No, you know in full well he didn't sleep in his rotted bed, so where the fuck did he sleep? Where did he sleep? Because there's no way he went all the way home to go sleeping in his bed. There's no way he did that. And he didn't even tell anybody where he'd gone. Where he'd gone at all. Nobody asked him. And this is why I just can't fathom the need to be married to someone, to be married that much, yeah, in order to get one part of your dream, to literally forego everything else. I couldn't do it. So then we see Sarah and Tim, and they have found their juju, their mojo, their joie de vivre again with each other. So Tim speaks about all the tension that was in the air, and basically that tension had literally started from the honeymoon but got progressively worse, especially when it came to, I think it was, I forgot what week it was, but they had to do the tasks, especially when it came to the telephone task, and then it kind of built on from there, because I'm telling you, and I still think it in all of my pores, that Sarah had something to do, or is going to have something to do with her ex. That's where my thought process is at the moment. So basically, they meet Tim's friend, the dick from the wedding, his best man, who literally did some uncouth, who he thought were jokes in his best man speech. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why Tim has this person as his friend. Some way in which, when it comes to good friends, you connect with them really, really well. So Tim must really connect with this person. They've known each other for years, but sometimes you can always know a person from the friends that they keep. Doesn't bode too well for our Tim. Tim's friend does turn around and say that him and Tim have already had a chat. So basically, Tim has turned and told him that they've had a few issues and where some of the issues were stemming from. So then Sarah's friend also comes to these drinks that they have at this bar. Now, all I can say is, I think Sarah and Tim's friends, yeah, they're twinsies. Like, in terms of how they speak to people and how they deal with people, because Tim's friend was dealing with Sarah exactly the way that Sarah was dealing with Tim within that relationship. Like, I'm just gonna put that out there. That's how he was dealing with Sarah. Like, he just kept on literally coming up with these fucking situations, telling Sarah to relax, that maybe she would relax, because once he knew that was a pet peeve of hers, he could not stop it. And I don't know if what he was doing was trying to throw them off their game in terms of the traction that they have made in their relationship, but it didn't necessarily work. So the first thing out of Tim's friend's mouth was, Tim said to him on the phone that he was counting down the days, and I was like, my guy, what the fuck are you saying right now? Like, seriously, are you literally trying to destroy your friend's wedding, marriage, whatever you want to call it? Are you literally trying to do that? Because this girl Sarah don't mess about, man. She's a little bit of the fiery side, you know what I mean? At least Sarah didn't really go in the way she would normally go in. But at some point, I was kind of like, Tim, you have to stop being the deer in the headlights and get your friend into motherfucking check right now, because he's taking the piss. But he finally did, when it was coming nearing to the end of their group chat, and he had to rein his friend back in and tell him to relax with the relaxed comments all the time, because he knew that it was starting to grate on Sarah's nerves and he didn't need all of that issue anymore. So Tim actually finally found his voice and literally told his friend exactly where their relationship is and how good they are with each other right now, and actually sung Sarah's praises, to be fair. And the fact of it is Sarah watched that, she listened to that, she took it in and she held it, and she was like, oh my God, you know, he defended me. And that's what women like to see, their man defending them, especially when it's against one of their boys. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, who are you picking here? Because at the end of the day, you ain't laying down with your boy at the end of the night. You ain't the one that's going to have to appease your woman. Your boy ain't going to have to be the one to appease your woman at the end of the night. So you need to make the right decisions right now, and Tim made the right decision. He made the right decision and it paid tenfold for him. So again, they are getting on pretty well. So you do see a bit of Lucinda and Tim, and they're having a chat about Lucinda's dad. And Tim is basically saying how he loved the chat with Lucinda's dad. And Lucinda was kind of like, okay, because you went away for quite a bit and then you came back all happy as Larry. You weren't this staid, standoffish person. So what did my dad say? So basically, Tim gave her the Cliff Note version, completely kept out the beat in regards to, well, your dad told me I should have a one night stand with you and maybe I'll like it, because Lucinda would find that fucking hilarious, I thought. But then of course in Tim's head, he'll probably be thinking, you know what, I don't want to put this thought into her head right now because that's not where I'm at. But my thing is, I honestly don't see Tim liking Lucinda at any way, shape or form. I believe he respects her. I believe he likes her. I believe he thinks that she's would be an absolute asset to his life. And he really, 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 really does have certain feelings for her. But I don't think they're romantic feelings in the slightest. And I think he needs to get to a point where he's actually being honest with this woman. Because Lucinda is literally she's trying her hardest at this moment in time. She really is trying her hardest. And she's going with it at the moment by pulling herself back and allowing him that space in order to feel safe, to open up, and hopefully they can get to this space of, you know, mutual attraction and mutual romantic feelings to take it to the next level. But I really don't think they're going to get there. So with the other couples, the new couples, with Jade and Ridge, and with Michael and Stephen, they have a crash course week basically. So within this crash course week, they have to do all the tasks that the OG couples have already done. So Jade and Ridge ended up with like the photo ranking task as well. And Jade did put Jade did put Ridge first, but I find when she did her pyramid of people, she actually put Jack second, and I was like, ew. No, my love. After you've been at the first dinner party and you heard this man tell another husband to put a muzzle on his wife, that should have been your clue to say, yeah, I want nothing to do with that husband. I don't find him attractive from that point. That's all I'm going to say on that. So then it goes to Michael and Stephen, and they got the confession letter. So basically, Stephen is the one that writes his confession letter to Michael, and literally goes into the situation of why he gets so closed off in the way that he does. So basically, Stephen has come from a broken home. His father was the one that cheated consistently on his mother, and he saw how that impacted upon his family and then impacted upon him. To this day, he has no relationship with his father. So that's what he, in essence, told Michael through this letter. So it was a hard letter for him to read. And now Michael has an understanding of Stephen's resistance in terms of when he kind of struggles with certain emotions, he will shut down. But Michael was able to prop him up in that, like, seriously. I do kind of hope it works out, but I do kind of see that there's going to be problems between them as time goes on, because I don't think Stephen is going to fully let go in order to build on any type of attraction or build on any type of relationship with Michael, because I think something is going to get in his way. We get to the aftermath of a family and friends week. Sarah and Tim appear to be getting on with each other, so that's a good thing. Tim talks about how they're intimate again. I'm like, okay, Sarah feels good, Sarah feels happy. I still have a sinking foreboding feeling that certain things are not done on Sarah's end, are not finished on Sarah's end. I don't know if it could be the possibility of her ex watching this show and seeing how she's getting so full on with this guy, and then probably wanting to come in and step in at that point, because he's probably realizing that, you know what, I can't keep jumping in and out of this girl's life, especially if she decides to fully commit to this man. I'm just saying that for now, because I do have a feeling that the ex is going to rear its ugly head somewhere along the lines. So Tim's big step now is moving back into the flat with Lucinda. And I'm just like, well, what about the rest of it, Tim? Like, seriously, okay, you've moved back into the flat. You're both getting on. You say Lucinda's a great girl. But what more is she? What more is Lucinda to you? Like, seriously, what else can you build on? Because it's now, 6, maybe 7 weeks now, and seriously, there's been no movement from Tim's side in that vernacular, if you get my drift and get my meaning. I ain't even just talking about sex. I'm talking about at least holding this girl's hand, showing her some type of affection, showing her the message that, you know what, I actually do want this marriage with you, and I actually am working towards building on top of what we've got at the moment, which is kind of a solid base, because they are friends. They are friends in all intents and purposes, but are they going to move on from that zone? Because Lucinda definitely really has a weakness for this guy. So basically, Lucinda has made his room, because they're in separate rooms, and she's made his room into his man cave, so he can fling his shit any which way he wants to. That's his space. He can feel safe in it. She turns around and says, actions do speak louder than words. And I'm just like, well, this man's actions are not speaking louder than his words. At the end of the day, Tim don't want Lucinda. He really don't. And I think there's going to come a point where Lucinda is going to stop trying with him, because yes, Lucinda is a trier, but she ain't stupid. I don't see her as a stupid woman at the end of the day. She knows exactly what she's doing and how she wants to do it. So she ain't ready to give up on this man yet. So we go to Jade and Ridge. They're still doing the tasks set out in, I think it was commitment week. So they did the phone task. Ridge was quite happy for Jade to have his phone, check through his phone. She was happy with what she found. Didn't find anything untoward. He got his phone back. Michael and Stephen do the values task, and they're similar on quite a few things. So Stephen's starting to say that he's starting to feel in sync with Michael, so we'll see how things go there. And then we go to Ben. We go to Ben and Ellie. And Ben has made a song for Ellie. He's singing this song on his guitar, strumming his guitar like he's in college, you know. He's one of those type of guys. Yeah. I'm not impressed. Not impressed by Ben. All I can say is cringe. Like, that part of the program was absolute cringe when he was strumming along and singing to this song so heartfeltly. He didn't actually sing the song to Ellie, which was pointless. He actually gave the lyrics to Ellie and have her read them. And of course she reads the verses and starts to cry, and she says this is so thoughtful and sweet. And then it's at this point I'm like, how far are these people willing to go to either impress or be impressed? Ben is still full of shit for me. Like, seriously, Ben is still full of shit for me, and I don't understand why Ellie's still giving this man this time of day, because from that point I would have said, you know what, let's call it a day. You know what I mean? Let's just call it a day from the time that after the commitment ceremony when I wrote leave and you ain't even stayed back to try and work shit out with me. I'll be like, you know what? Let's call it a day. Let's not do this anymore. Let's not waste each other's time and think that we can work through this and everything is going to be good and you're gonna try and come back and be nice and, you know, save face with me. No, I ain't willing to go through all of that again. Guess what? My cousin Jordan was right at the wedding that you are fake as shit and you're here for other reasons, and let's just call it a day. But no, Ellie does not do that. But we'll get to that in a minute. So we get to Cassandra and Tristan, and Cassandra and Tristan are meeting Cassandra's father Moody, Moody, and meeting Tristan's mum. Now Cassandra's dad is a absolute straight talker. He don't brook no argument with anybody in any way, shape or form. So I think Cassandra just wants Tristan to see her as she is and them as potential life partners. She wants Tristan to get out of his own way and work with what they've got right now. So Tristan, again, always singing Cassandra's praises, and I'm like, he can sing Cassandra's praises till the cows come home. What needs to happen is for you to deal with the issues that you have to be able to give this woman exactly what it is that you want to give her, because at the end of the day, Tristan wants this marriage with Cassandra. He wants this lifetime commitment with Cassandra, but he needs to get out of his own fucking way. He needs to actually sit back and actually get some support and some therapy in regards to the thoughts that he does have, to be able to build in strategies to work against those thoughts and behaviors when they start to happen, so then he doesn't impact Cassandra. Yeah, that would be so easy. It would be so easy. But Tristan does tell, like, when mum asks how's it going between them, she does talk about that they've had rocky times, but doesn't fully go into the rocky times that they've had at all. So Muddy is very quiet, and he's like me, he's a people watcher, so he will only ask pertinent questions if things are not adding up for him at all, because that's what I do. I will be a listener and be like, okay, then there's a gap in that. You haven't really answered the question for me, so what is the issues that are going on between you and Cassandra? That's the first thing I would have asked. Okay, so then Tristan basically says to Muddy that he can ask them whatever like he wants at all. They're an open book. Somebody asked about their sex life. If you went quiet, Tristan did say ask anything, and Muddy asked it. But you would think with the way that Tristan looked and the way that Tristan's mum looked, that they took away their favourite toy. Like, literally took away their favourite toy, because they were shocked to hell and back, like, really? And it wasn't until Cassandra starts laughing and saying, no, he's playing with you. Again, Cassandra saves Tristan in that moment. And Tristan, again, he finds Cassie attractive, but right now they're stuck in the friendship zone. Somebody asked Tristan why, and Tristan, God love him, does tell Muddy exactly the situations as to what has arose from how he was when he was a bigger child and how those feelings have affected him into his adulthood. So his mother is right where she turns around and she says that Tristan literally has like what we call imposter syndrome, where she thinks that Tristan gets into his head thinking he's not good enough for a person like Cassandra, when in actuality he is, and he needs to make that realization. So Tristan is basically saying that he's working on it, but I still think he needed to have worked on it outside of this experiment. But hey ho, those are just my thoughts. So Muddy says at the end of the day, young people are always constantly in a hurry, like in a hurry for things to go bap, 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 bap. That's not how you should be. So what if you are stuck in the friend zone at this moment in time? What you're supposed to do is enjoy the journey, because what you're missing out on is the journey to get to the point that you're looking for. And I'm like, Muddy's right, but then how long is your daughter gonna have to wait for Tristan to see this thing through? It's been weeks now, and he isn't even, it's just about getting to the point of offering you, like, you know, Cassandra those handholds, giving her the hugs, giving her the kisses, which is a good thing, but he needs to build upon that as time goes on. So yeah, it was a heavy one. And then we get to Andrea and Richard, and we get even more heavy, because it don't look good for them at all. Now the situation that I have here is Andrea is literally held on to the bit that, you know, Richard was a little bit more open in regards to their sex life, playing to the group, than she would have liked. So that kind of set her back. So basically what Richard is saying is that after they got off the couch, she said that she would try, and he feels that she's not trying in the slightest, and that she's been on the phone to her friends constantly. And it's not about the fact that she's been on the phone to her friends, it's the fact that she shut herself away from him rather than coming and literally trying to find common ground with him and having that conversation with him. So I think this situation has just dragged on for way too long, and now they don't know how to bring it back, because at some points Andrea was not listening or validating the feelings of Richard, because that's where he felt his feelings were, in terms of the fact that she's not necessarily trying and feels that she is not attracted to him anymore. And then also Richard was not listening to what Andrea was saying as well, in the fact that, you know what, she literally took a step back, but she had been trying, but Richard's not seeing her trying in that essence. So basically, in terms of the family and friends, it was Andrea's friend that came, long-term friend, and it was Richard's daughter that came, and you could tell that it was quite emotional, especially for Richard, because as soon as the daughter said hi and hugged him, he held onto her and started to cry. So the daughter knew something was up. So when they'd had this conversation, it kind of came out that, you know, Andrea had been through certain situations and she has a lot of baggage, especially when it's to do with ex-partners that she's been with before, and this is how she dealt with certain situations where she would pull back and retreat. Now my thing is okay, that's all well and good, but Richard is not her exes. She shouldn't do the same thing to Richard that she's done with her exes, because at the end of the day, she's sitting there singing Richard's praises about how lovely he is, and that she really, really likes this man, and that she really wants to work things out with this man, and that he's the best person and treats her well. But then she's still treating him like a little bit shit. She's still treating Richard a little bit shit at the end of the day, because all it had to do was a conversation being had. So he would understand where she was at and learn not to make the same mistake again, and be a little bit more, you know, standoffish when it comes to speaking about their sex life on the couch. He won't do that again to make her feel comfortable. That's in my eyes, that's all it should have taken, was that conversation. But obviously it didn't, and it was dragged out to where it shouldn't have been dragged out to at the end of the day, because Richard's daughter was right. Richard is not her exes. She needs to change up too. The same way in which Richard is going to change up in terms of how he deals with his full-on openness, is the same way Andrea's going to have to deal and change up to in terms of how she deals with situations where she is not comfortable in or feeling that she is being disrespected. She needs to change that shit up too and not keep retreating. She needs to open her mouth and literally sit down and have those conversations with him to make sure that it isn't carried on into the next day, into the next day, into the next day, because you will end up with this constant awkwardness that they found themselves in. And this is what I meant about these two now hitting their first stumbling block, and they literally could not get out of it. It was weird. It was weird to me, like seriously weird to me. So then we go back to Ben and Ellie. Situation arose. Ellie basically told Ben that one of them needs to leave the flat and it ain't her because she is not staying the night with him. So I was like, oh my fuck, what did this man do now? So this is why I keep telling you, this man keeps playing with this girl's mind. He keeps reeling her in with fake niceness. She falls for it, and then in the next breath he will fuck her over. I don't know how many times Ellie cannot see this man for who he is. He is not a genuine character. He is not a nice person. He's there to literally gaslight the fuck out of this girl and emotionally manipulate her. And I've said it. So basically, she's saying that Ben sat her down for 2.5 motherfucking hours. 2.5 hours. And listed everything he didn't like about her. So I'm like, so hold on. Ben is moaning about this girl getting emotional. Yeah. You sat this girl down for 2.5 hours to literally pinpoint what it is you did not like about her. And you expected her to be happy with that. You expected her to come out of there with a big smile on her face and not be fucking emotional. This is how I know this man is stupid. This is how I know this man is stupid, and what he's still doing on this show is beyond me, because this is a pattern of abusive behavior for me, like seriously. So Ben is trying to turn around and say that him and Ellie have to talk. And he basically felt that everything was focused on him. So he then decided to take away the focus from him as well and make it even Stevens in putting the focus onto Ellie. Yeah, mate, that makes sense. So Ellie said that she did take notes of what he said. And this went on for 2.5 hours. And I'm like, you know what? From the first thing that came out of that man's mouth when he talked about how much makeup Ellie wore, that would be my first point to say, I am not listening to this shit. You need to take your crap and get the fuck to step in, because we are done. Like, absolutely done. Like, seriously done. I ain't listening to this shit. I don't have to listen to this shit. What you're saying is absolute bullshit. I have absolute confidence in myself. My self-esteem is up here. You need to go. But no, Ellie sat there, listened to his bullshit for 2.5 hours and took notes on what he said. So basically, he said to Ellie, he doesn't like the way she applies makeup because he's used to dating girls that don't wear a lot. He didn't like the fact that she was 32 and he was 39. And I'm like, well, she can't change the date that she was born, Ben. But he deduced it to saying that there was a generational gap. And I'm like, mate, you are literally only 7 years older than this girl, and you're in the same age bracket as Ellie. I'm like, Ben is stupid. Ben is stupid. I'm stupid. So then he turned around and he says he didn't like where she lived in the Gold Coast. That's her home. So fuck you on that one, Ben. And then he said that she was sensitive and emotional and she was not giving him good conversation. And that's why I said the purpose, because people were asking, like, they didn't realise what the purpose was of him doing that. Yeah. The purpose of him doing that to Ellie, like he's always done throughout the episodes of doing this to Ellie, is to put her down, to break her, and then try and build her back up, to make her feel shit about herself. He is a disgusting person. Ben is foul. like absolutely foul. So the producers were talking to him, and my man literally sat there and said that he wanted to finish his dinner as he had his tooth removed. Someone needs to come get their man. Someone needs to really come get this man and escort him off the premises. Like, seriously, and say, you know what, this experiment is over for you. I'm sorry, Ellie, but we've had to chuck him out. Like, seriously, someone needs to come save this man from himself, because he's an absolute fucking dickhead. Like, absolute dickhead. How he got along in relationships that he did have, I don't know. And how stories did not come to the forefront about this fucking idiot, besides Jack as well, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. This man is showing Ellie everything she needs to know. Like, seriously, everything she needs to know. So, at last, at the end of this, Ellie started to show self-preservation. And I was like, praise the motherfucking Lord, she's got there at last. She's got there at last. So that's where the episode ends, and then in the next episode at the dinner, you see it pop off between Jaden and Tim. Tori goes at Cassandra, and I just thought at that point, no, my girl, you need to be leaving Cassandra alone. Like, seriously, leave Cassandra alone. I ain't gonna trust the edits as it is, but I'm definitely gonna get into that in the next episode, because Tori ain't starting with my Cassandra. She can fuck all the way off. Fuck all the way off and stay there. Do you know what I mean? And then we see also Ben starts with his bullshit tour. Yes, that is where it ended. I shall be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.